I am so used to I mean, shooting films is hard in its own way, right? Because especially like I have shot a lot of horror movies. It's overnights and you're covered in blood and like, it's long days, but it's nothing compared to actual play. My experience before actual play, before Critical Role in collaborative storytelling was really short campaigns. And
Hmm.
so I have not really sat with a character for as long as I am hopefully going to with Tyranny on Critical Role. And that in and of itself is such a trip because, I think for most actors, you're used to just showing up on set, doing your job, saying your lines, and then leaving. Whereas this is long form improv,
Yeah.
collaborative storytelling. It's almost like being in a writer's room to an extent because you have to make sure that what you're doing plays well with the story and plays well with everybody else. So it's such a trip, and it's also the most fun thing I've ever done in my life. I'm having a blast.
I'm so glad everyone loves your character so much. I love Tyranny, and that you and Sam Riegel are so hilarious together. You being kind of like very much your character. I've kind of like talked about this at length. Your character is very much the audience looking in. Like we already know the joke, on
Yeah.
Wikander, and you have the most, being even a demon, you have like the most realistic perspective on this entire universe, which you are also new to, like the audience is.
Yeah.
It's a it's a brilliant character to be playing. Like, what was the process for coming up with a character that you're going to have to live with for an incredible amount of time?
Well, you know what is so funny is I didn't plan on this being a benefit, but as someone who does not keep a lot of lore in my head very well, the decision to be a I'm not from around here type of character actually really worked in my favor. I didn't intend for that to be an aspect of it, but it is helping me because I don't have to have the responsibility of knowing everything at all times, which is great. Um, in terms of creating Tyranny, I knew that I wanted to go in either as a duo or just having some strong relationship to ground me into the world, as someone who's new to Critical Role and someone who also just I think I play with others better than coming up with my own thing. I'm a sort of a reactionary creative in that way. And I just am a huge Sam fan. He's my bud. I love him, and I am just in awe of his ability to be one of the best improvisers and also like give real pathos to his characters too. But beyond that, I didn't really know what Sam's plan was with his character with Wick, and I knew that I wanted to come. I'm a big fan of Carl Jung and archetypal energy and getting really nerdy about that type of thing. So I wanted to sew some of that into my first character. And Tyranny is she kind of just fell out of me as a manifestation of all the unhealthiest parts of me. But she is sweet. She's got good intentions. The last actual play show that I did was called TBD RPG on Geek and Sundry, and we alternated being the GMs and building out these worlds, but it was only 3 week long campaigns, so it was
Hmm.
constantly rotating. So I do love to GM, but I don't know if I have it in me to build a whole Tolkien ass world. I could maybe do a silly goofy one shot though. I'd be interested in that.
What like, is there any aspect like to acting that you actually applied to like role playing as well, and like what you've learned?
Yeah, I think it's everything. I think that I mean, acting, more importantly, improvising though, because what improv teaches you is to be generous and to try to make your scene partners look good because that is what will reflect, on the show the best. I think that for me as someone who was maybe less experienced at D&D specifically than the other players, like I've certainly played, I know the rules, but I don't have 10 years under my belt,
Yeah.
um, I am definitely leading with the acting skill set over the playing the game skill set. So to me, and it's so easy because everyone is so dropped in. Brennan has built this beautiful world for us to live in. And so it's really, it doesn't feel different in that way than doing theater or doing film.
So, given the other like D&D campaigns and the fact you've Dungeon Master before, like what is different about this time? Is it the like beyond length and there's a lot of lore? Like what strikes you as like as a different experience that is unique?
I mean, the production value for one, it's
Yeah.
it's crazy. The table vibrates. There's sounds that happen and lighting changes, and it's such a treat. I mean, it feels so immersive. But I think those are the biggest differences. I think like it's such a huge jump from like doing, my silly little one shots to like being at a table with like Brennan and Matt and people the whole cast that has been doing this for a very long time of just like, oh, these are professionals. They are professionals at this. And I guess I am now too, but it's just the way that everyone moves through a scene, moves through the game together, it just feels like it feels so tight and it feels so like, okay, everybody really knows what they're doing and I am very held.
How has the fan response been? Because from like my side of things, people are like just up. They love all these characters, but they have really embraced Tyranny.
It's been insane. It's been insane. I mean, I knew from I've hosted a couple panels with Crit Roll in the past, back when I was doing more hosting work, and so I got to
I remember
catch
this actually. Yeah.
yeah, Comic Cons and
Yeah.
stuff, and so I got to catch a glimpse of the Critter hug back then, but then being sort of dropped into it. I was telling Matt and Marisha, I was like, it's so crazy because I've been their friend for a really long time, and I was like, there's no like steady work up into the fandom. It's just like, here, we're dropping you into the middle of this, and it's like nothing I've ever experienced. The critters are so dang sweet, and also some of the most talented artists I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm seeing fan art of the cast that and as a big comic book fan and as a big visual arts fan, my mind is blown constantly. I saw somebody with a Tyranny tattoo already, and I'm like, we're 4 episodes in, baby. What if you hate her?
What if you murder an entire village? Yeah. Yeah, anything could happen. I ran into that at Gen Con. I had gotten laid off and I happened to be at Gen Con. I was walking through the crowd at an event for Daggerheart, and a critter grabbed me dressed as one of Marisha's characters and as Caliph, and just went on a monologue about how I will be fine and the world will be okay and how I deserve better and like all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm carrying camera gear just trying to get to the next room, and
Wow.
I'm like about to cry.
Yeah.
Because
Well, that's one
it's
thing
that level
about
of
critters.
niceness. Yeah.
Yeah, it's they're so sweet, but I think that's something that is so special about this fandom, and something that I really resonate with as a crybaby little bitch is it is tender. It's a
Yeah.
very tender fandom. People are really empathetic with each other. People are really open about what they're experiencing. I mean, a lot Crit Roll, if you just think about the amount of hours of content there
Yeah.
are, so many people have used it while they're in the hospital or they're dealing with grief. And so it has curated this community of people who are really vulnerable with each other. And I am nothing if not vulnerable.
I always like to ask everyone about their life philosophy. Because because I became a fan of yours because of your directing of that music video and how absolutely funny it was. And it was great then to see the Critical Role connection and all of it. But do you have like kind of an overall life philosophy from like Birdemic to now that has served you really well?
Wow. That's a very good question. The only thing I care about is connection at the end of the day. The only thing that I care about is being seen and witnessing others. And I think that as artists, that is true. I think that's true for most artists, whether or not you're like a reclusive type. There's certainly writers that I know that are like that. But I think ultimately, you know, I want to connect people with the human experience. And I think that that's something that I really love about Tyranny too, is even though she's a demon, she's on this plane to have a human experience, and that's what she's doing. And I think as an addition to that, it's all beautiful. All the pain, every single aspect of the human experience is beautiful, and I really do believe that.
That's amazing. What are some of your favorite connections on the show right now? Like, you obviously have you and Sam are absolutely hilarious together, and are your own buddy cop movie.
Yeah.
What are your other favorite connections?
I am loving what Alex Ward is doing. Everything that is happening to Octus is incredible. I love the sort of like mother-son relationship that's happening with him and Aabria. Honestly, Aabria and everybody. I set Aabria up with literally anybody, and she will knock it out of the park and do exactly what I was saying before in terms of like being a generous scene partner. She'll set you up to have a really sick moment. I'm loving what she's doing. Also, like, I can't wait for just more of Matt being a shithead.
Yeah. Anyone who knows Matt, like, he needs that. Like,
Yeah,
that he's jerk.
He's such a beloved sweetheart, and he's like, "Oh, you like me? Well, guess what?" I also got to shout out Murray and Bolaire. Tal and Marisha are just a dream team. They're so funny together.
They are absolutely hilarious together. Yeah, they're one of my favorite pairings so far. Is there any like things that you are taking away from this current experience? Like, because what there's Campaign 5, or you do a long form show, or you do start doing world building, or like character things, because you're living with this character so long already.
Yeah. I mean, ideally, if Brennan doesn't kill her.
I hear a lot about the lethality of Brennan.
Yeah.
So.
I'm trying to not think too much about the future. I really am. I'm thinking a lot about just how grateful I am to have a seat at the table right now. This has been not only like a banner career experience for me, but also just I've known a lot of the core cast for going on 16 years. I've seen them build this from the ground up, and I take it really seriously. I feel I understand how protective they are of each other and of what they've built, and I feel really just honored to be a part of it for however long I get to be. And I'm having a blast. I have some feature scripts that I'm working on that I'm really loving exploring being a writer and also be like just making my own stuff. And so I have a couple horror scripts under my belt, and I think since I started making my own stuff around 2020, I've kind of built this body of work that angles in on being sad and horny and funny, and those are sort of the trifecta that I like to live in, and I'm looking forward to doing more of that.
Is there what do you think is the most important thing to capture in a horror film? We do still have plenty of horror films about to come out. I'm really excited for Frankenstein. I'm excited to see the final season of Stranger Things.
Yeah,
but I love everything that Guillermo does. What do you think is like the hallmarks of horror for you? I know it's different for everybody.
For a really long time, I've been a horror fan for a long time, and for many years, I got kind of pretentious about it, where I was like, nothing is going to scare me. I'm so desensitized. And I wasn't having fun watching horror movies because I became really critical about whether or not it personally scared me, a person who is really not shaken by a lot. Now, if I can see they're having fun, it's a good horror movie. And if I have fun, I've said this before, I don't believe in good and bad art. I believe in inspired and not inspired art. And I think that if you make something like, here's a great example. I loved The Monkey. The Monkey is a silly as hell movie. It is so Final Destination with it. It's so Looney Tunes, but you can tell they're having fun. And that's why I love B movies too. So I think that now for me, the hallmark would be, can you see the passion? Can you see the fun?
Birdemic is a really interesting horror film that got
That's a
made.
kind way to put it, Todd.
And this is what this is. I think a lot of people are. I mean, there are a lot of people who are curious about your career, especially people who now you're in Critical Role Campaign 4, and they're wondering kind of your background, and you have this really awesome background, and one of those things is Birdemic, shock and terror, or
Yeah, it's a mouthful.
and you're fantastic in it. You're doing great. The CG is pretty rough. It's not necessarily the most amazing special effects, but what was that like? Because that was your very first gig. Like that was the beginning of your career right out of high school, right?
Yeah, I was still living in the Bay Area. I mean, in terms of what it was like, it was horrible. It was a bad experience. It was the director is an insane person, but like my attitude has always been, even in the shit, was everybody has their first terrible project and no one's going to see mine anyways, and so I might as well get some practice on set, and that's exactly what I did. I mean, it's definitely, you can see, I appreciate the kind comments, but it's a very bad movie, and also like you can kind of tell I'm just starting out as an actor. I'm
Yeah.
just out of high school. I am not like super trained, and I think ultimately I learned a lot of lessons about grit and resilience and just kind of like going with the flow. But honestly, since then, it's only led to good things because I'm a B movie fan. It helped me find a community in Los Angeles. It helped me find friends, and it helped me find work, weirdly.
That's that's interesting because like, yeah, I mean, I think you're doing fantastic, all things considered, in that kind of environment. But like, I'm luckily I can't find any of my first film projects, thank God.
My dream is to have like a film festival where I screen Birdemic and all of my friends show their first worst bad thing, because they're out there.
That would be a lot of fun. You also direct, though, on top of everything, and you had like a little bit of a redemption. You got to reshoot a scene with the Corridor folks.
Oh yeah, my boys.
Where they kind of upped the CG and everything, and they shot again with you. That was really great that you, because it sounds like you had a bad experience on the film, but to be willing to come back and shoot a scene was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you can separate a bad experience of being a teenager and not knowing what you're doing and getting, thrown into the mix with like, I think that the movie's hilarious. I love the screenings and I love the following it has. And so like all good things, I can suffer through 7 months of a bad shoot to have, these memories. And it was really fun to do the reshoot too.
Have you had a lot of fans come up to you about it?
It's crazy. It's the one thing that people like still to this day comment on my Instagram or say hi in public about. I mean, obviously now with Crit Roll, that's sort of the thing, but yeah. It's still kicking.
It's funny to me because I randomly saw a tweet from Matthew Mercer, who I know, and my wife and I watched the music video from Dan Heatwave. And
Dave Heatwave, yeah.
Yeah, Dave Heatwave, sorry. And we could not stop laughing. It was such a weird buildup. It had a 3-act structure. It's one of the strangest music videos I think I've ever seen because it's actually narratively really sound.
Awesome.
like I told you before, it's like probably the best Zillow ad I've ever seen. And if you're of a certain age, this is how you feel about houses and real estate.
Yeah, yes.
But you directed that, right?
Yes, I did. I had such a great time. Directing music videos is really fun because you don't have to worry about sound. And so that you're cutting out like an entire part that makes shooting really difficult. But I'm such a big fan of music videos. I think there's such a great vehicle for narrative storytelling, and I really wish people would put more money into it. I know that labels don't give a lot of money these days to music videos, which is a shame because you get directors like the Daniels and they cut their teeth on music videos, and it's some of the best storytelling ever, and it's in this perfectly contained space, plus you get to hear rad new music. Like that Dave song is so good. It's such a bop.
Yeah, and like things like well, the music for Turn Down for What is directed by the
Yeah,
same person who directed,
yeah,
Everything Everywhere All at Once, and David
the
Fincher
Daniels.
got his
Yeah,
start, yeah, like
yeah,
Vogue was
yeah,
that's how he got started. He started doing then Seven and Fight Club and all that stuff. So it's that was always a great incubator for good directors later on.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. That said, I have my first directing project coming up. I just wrapped on it, where I co-directed a short film called See You Next Tuesday that I am also in. And shout out to my buddy Marcus Millar, who he AD'd the Dave Heatwave music video, and he directed my last short that I wrote, Palm Swings. And we got to tag team this shoot, and it was so much fun. I don't know if directing and acting in the same thing is the correct move. It's a lot, but we had a great time, and I was so happy to have him have my back.
and now you're going to be in. I mean, you're in a major film as well. On top of everything else, you're in a movie with Emily Blunt and Dwayne Johnson. That
Yeah.
that is a big curve from Birdemic. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
If you want to support more video content like this, like, subscribe, ring the bell notification, leave comments about your theories about Campaign 4, and also if you want to support more video content like this, you can go to Patreon. That actually helps fund and give us the funding to actually fly around the country and conduct interviews and afford gear and stuff like that. That really helps us out, and we can make more video content because of Patreon. And also, we create playtest materials that are coming out very shortly as well. Thank you so much for watching.